Everybody, Ralph Havens here, autoimmuneanswers.com. And let's change the world, huh? You know, right now, a lot of people don't even realize we're in one of the biggest David versus Goliath moments. You know, there was one of my friends yesterday, a couple days ago, was talking about one of her friends and their baby. When she cries out of control, you know, if something happens, if she falls or some kind of thing happens, or she gets really upset, she starts crying, and then she turns blue, and she stops breathing. And that sounds incredible. And my friend said that the mom went to the doctor, of course, numerous times, the ER and all sorts of stuff to try to figure this out. And the doctors were just saying, well, she'll grow out of it. She'll grow out of it. She turns blue and she stops breathing. And I thought, that's weird. That just isn't normal. That's not normal. And so that night, I don't think there's any things that are just by chance or coincidence. Not really. I think there's reasons for stuff. And that night we were watching Del Bigtree. And if you don't know Del Bigtree, he has a show called The High Wire on YouTube. Used to be the producer of the daytime talk show The Doctors on CBS, I believe. He won an Emmy for it, and he's an investigative journalist. And so he has a show, and we watch it every week because right now we're in this huge fight, and the pharmaceutical industry is doing something that's insane and crazy. So they were talking about the hepatitis B vaccine that's in Israel. And what they did in Israel was they divided the country into half, literally into half. And half of them, they kept using the regular hepatitis B vaccine. And the other half, they started using this other vaccine for hepatitis for babies. You know, hepatitis is an infection that if you're a drug user or promiscuous sex type person, you're more likely to get hepatitis B. So why they give it to babies on the first day of life is like beyond me. But there they are. They're doing this, and they're basically doing a clinical trial to see how this goes without telling anybody. Everybody just thought they were getting the hepatitis B vaccine, but half of the country was getting a new one to test it. And thousands of babies were having severe adverse reactions. Severe. They had to stop it in Israel. And the reason, one of the effects was the babies were turning blue and stopping breathing. That's insane, right? That's insane. So this is one small part of stuff that Jen and I are seeing, and Del Bigtree is seeing, and we're looking through all this peer-reviewed research and all the documents with the Health and Human Services and the CDC and the NIH, and going to PubMed and looking at stuff and the studies that were done to test this stuff. And it's just crazy. There's actually something called a non-inferiority study, and it's the study that they used for the new MMR vaccine. There's a new MMR vaccine that they're testing, which should tell you something, that maybe the first one isn't working so well. But GlaxoSmithKline is testing a new one. And instead of testing it against a placebo, an inert, saline solution, they're testing it against the other MMR vaccine that's already on the table. And so, and they're calling it a non-inferiority test study because they're just testing to see, is it any worse than the first one? That's what it is. And so there's no placebo testing. And what they're finding is severe adverse reactions, ER visits, autoimmune conditions, other chronic conditions that are showing up in the first 42 days of giving this vaccine. But they're going to use it anyway. They're saying, well, that's pretty good. It's no worse than the other one. And so for Jen and I, we think this is insane. So this is one thing that we're fighting really hard to get the word out and to use stuff, but we're in a very big fight. And the people we're fighting against, there are fights in the world. The things we're working against is the pharmaceutical industry, and they're large and they're powerful and they're giant, and they knowingly deceive and hurt people. These are facts. They've been convicted felons, the 4 vaccine companies that make vaccines that are mandated for children in the United States. And so these are not conspiracy theories. This is just facts. but we're up against that. So what do we do? And right now, you know, if you're an adult, you might think, well, you know, we should do it for the kids and all that sort of thing. But they're coming after you as an adult. They're coming after you. And there's these things called real IDs that are in place right now, where to get your driver's license, it's a real ID now. It's linked to your data. And in Argentina, they already have it where it's set up where if you're not fully vaccinated, you can't get a driver's license, you can't get a passport. So that's a way that they could use here in the United States. It's already being set up so that the adults have to get all these vaccines. And the drug companies can't be sued if their vaccine kills somebody. There's an actual law from 1986, the vaccine law, that gives them immunity from any kind of prosecution. So how do you fight that? So who knows, right? But there's one thing that they can't defend against, even if they take this thing down, even if they destroy someone's reputation or change something to make it where somebody can't broadcast their information, their freedom of speech. There's something that can't be controlled. And so, you know, it's in the world of spirit, right? So whatever it is you're fighting against, if you're fighting against something, if you want something to change in the world, whether it's the environment or some kind of problem or some kind of thing, let's do a session right now. How does that sound? And so what you can do, and I love to test things that are real in the real world. You know, you can test your shoulders and arms and walk around. And after this session, after this video, you can notice what's different and notice what changes for you in your world. Even right away, we can retest. So I'm going to do a session right now. And kind of like, you know, I don't know how YouTube works or Skype or wireless internet, but the cool thing is I know how to use it. I know which buttons to push and that sort of thing. So it's kind of like this. Who knows how this energy stuff works? But if you know how to use it, it's really cool. So if you want, right now, you can notice what you notice. And you can notice what you notice that's different. And I've been lucky enough to use this work for quite a few years and then test real things before and after. And I'm going to leave a link in the description once this video is done, and of a very cool email I got from a woman, a grandmother, after I worked on her grandson. And by seeing how fast things can change, it's given me a reality that, wow, this stuff is really cool. And so what you can do is think about what you want to change in the world, what would be, what you're fighting against, what's just the injustices, the stuff that seems insurmountable, even if it's personal stuff, you know, your own finances or health or something. And then watch this video and then watch it again and watch it again and watch it again and notice what you notice and notice what you notice that's different. You know, years ago, I couldn't have done these videos. I was racked with so much anxiety and fear and insecurity and who am I to do anything, and concerns around my self-worth and am I worth it for, you know, why would anybody pay me for anything? And I solved that stuff. And if it's something that you're interested in shifting you and doing what you want to do in the world and getting stuff out in the world and clearing all the anxiety and fear and insecurities that may be in your way, you can go grab an ebook that I made. It's called End Anxiety Forever, No More Sweaty Hands. It's what it's my cliff notes of what I used for myself and now I use for my clients. So you can grab it at ralphhavens.com/End Anxiety Forever. And let me know how it goes watching this video. I encourage you to watch it again and again. You can just set a very weak intention of like, you know what, this would be really cool if we could change the world, if this could be different. And then let it go, and then just watch the video. And then notice what you notice that's different immediately, and notice what you notice that's different later. So give it a try. Let me know how it goes. And let's get out there and live. Let's really live. All right, everybody. See you all tomorrow.